following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Yo, it's getting warmer in Florida, but it's still not completely there. That's why I have this hoodie on because we don't have heat in the studio because it's South Florida, and it's nicer than it was last week, but still has a little bit of chill in the studio, but it's kind of comfortable, to be honest. Here we are on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, the Positively Pipeman segment on Motivational Monday. And I do have some motivation I want to talk about. That's also a peeve. So I'm going to rant and motivate at the same time. And who better to help me out with this before he gives us this unbelievable advice about pet tummy aches, but the pet health guru. So let's welcome Studio Nut and the pet health guru onto the show. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
So
you're gonna steal my rants now?
Well, I rant too. Maybe you stole it from me years ago. I don't know, but that's why you need to be here so we could do a joint rant. Okay, but let me just say first of all that you know what, Seattle proved something that Bill Parcells always said. Defense wins games. If you look at the greatest football teams, defense. The greatest hockey teams, the Devils, when they were Stanley Cup champions, Jacques Lemaire was famous for the trap, which is defensive play. And look at what happened, man. They shut down that quarterback of New England like it was nobody's business. I don't want to be him today. What do you think, Bill?
You know, that's what it is. That's what it boils down to. And, you know, my favorite team didn't make it because we did have defensive problems.
Who's your favorite team?
Buffalo.
The Bills. Yeah, the Bills, right? Yeah. Well, you know what I have to say to you about the Bills?
Their defense broke down over the years, always at that critical moment. They're winning, they're doing things, they come back from the grave, and then the defense like, we're not going to show up for 2 plays.
Except when all you have to do is kneel in a playoff game and you fumble the ball and your name is Joe Pisarcik. Was that against Buffalo, or am I also thinking about when Hostetler was the Giants again playing Buffalo, and Buffalo ended up winning the game with a field goal with there was a second left in the game or something.
Yeah.
So listen, the Bills, I got to tell you, they would have been perfect for that championship game between New England and who'd they play again? Oh, Denver. Yeah, you never remember the losers. You know, and that is a motivational point. Nobody remembers number 2. Does anybody remember who got the silver medal in 1980 for hockey? Do you know?
Absolutely no. Absolutely no. I don't follow it that well anyway. So it's not one of the important part of my life. It's you know.
It is a Netflix show right now. It is a Netflix show right now. It's about when the USA won the Olympics with a bunch of players that were total amateurs against the best hockey team that ever lived, the Russians, who won every year.
Right.
the Russians didn't even make it to the gold game because
Yeah.
USA beat them. And then I think it was Finland who we beat for the gold medal. And, you know, there's an example of what I'm looking at right there. Okay. That game was an example of leadership. Okay. Now, let me say, and this is not pro anybody or against anybody, but I just thought of it right now. Let's think about politics for a second and think about some of the greatest leaders of our time were not liked very much. Okay.
No.
And the coach for the USA team was not liked till the end with the team because they all thought he was kind of an asshole, you know. And I use that word because people use that word a lot, but sometimes that's what it takes to get things done. And like, you weren't going to beat the Russian hockey team by being nice. Let's put it that way.
No.
Okay.
No.
And so I think it's a very important thing to realize that when you are up at high levels in no matter what you're doing, people think you're an asshole, no matter whether you are or not. People try and knock you off the mountain. That's all what it's about. You know, look, the Patriots would win all the time, and everybody thought Tom Brady and Belichick were assholes, and they were cheating. And they probably were, because I don't like the Patriots either. So I'm glad they lost. But I got to tell you, there's two great leaders in history that have there's two great books for these great leaders in history that I want to talk about a little bit right now before we get into your pet segment, Bill. But their books are about leadership, and one of them is one of my favorite books, is The Art of War by Sun Tzu, famous Chinese general, not known as like some peacekeeper either. Okay, but what is taught in that book for business and negotiation tactics is one of the greatest things ever. So good that even Dave Mustaine of the heavy metal thrash metal band Megadeth, who just put out their final album recently, mentioned it in an interview. So imagine that. Even people in music are mentioning this book for success in life. And then there's another book I have. It's basically about leadership based on the Machiavelli tactics. And isn't it interesting, Bill, that some of the people we most hated in history as leaders, or that we consider evil, did have some redeeming qualities, especially when it came to leadership skills?
Well, you know, that's evident in a lot of businesses as well. You know, both of us being, you know, in business, you know, we get employees that think that we're terrible. We get people that, even customers, that think we're horrible.
Oh yeah, one thinks I'm a fucking asshole. One thinks I'm an asshole. Okay. But it's true though, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you know, they second guess you. They always know more than the boss does. They're always disgruntled. You know, they complain. But at the end of the day, it's the boss's vision and drive that basically gets the job done. Whether you like it or not, we still got it done.
My dad gave me the best advice one time that aligns right with what you're saying. So one time I was in the investment business. I called him up one time, you know, and it's like I had all these brokers that worked for me. And in that business, you know, brokers, they work on straight commission. They don't make money unless they pick up the phone. You know, they have to pick up the phone, smile, and dial. Okay. And like, I had people in there that would just sit there all day and stare at the wall. Now, they have no possible way to make any money. They could be doing a lot better things with their life than staring at a wall. I called my dad. I'm like, I don't get it. I have given these brokers the opportunity where they can make a minimum of 20 grand a month, and all they have to do is pick up the phone. I even said I'd help them. I would close deals for them. and they just stare at the wall. And I don't get it. Why would you work somewhere and stare at the wall and not get paid? What's the point? And what he said next, I think, is some of the greatest advice I ever heard in my life. He said, if they were you, they'd be your competition, not your employees. And that says it all right there. That says it all right there, especially for, see, the people that work for you and they think they know better. Some things they may know better. Juan will tell you, I'm very open to people's suggestions. And I told him in the first interview that I was, and I want them. But I also told him in his first interview that basically, but I might have already tried it and found out that it didn't work, And like, see, that's the point. The people that are the leaders, maybe they just not experienced the failure already. Okay. And that's where their knowledge comes from. And so the point is, a great leader makes all the mistakes themselves first so that they can lead their people the proper way, and a lot of times people don't like it. It's kind of like we go to Karate Kid, and Ralph Macchio, when he was first getting trained by Miyagi, he didn't get why Miyagi was making him do all this stupid stuff. And this happens all the time in business and politics and everything. Okay. It's like, basically we don't understand what the forest is. We're only looking at the tree. Whereas the leader looks at the forest, not the tree. And if a tree is in front of you, so many non-leaders try to chop the tree down, walk through it, whatever. The leader just simply walks around because he already tried all those things you're trying to do and failed miserably. See, failure is a necessary part of success, isn't it, Bill?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had this discussion yesterday. It's funny how the world comes around.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, listen. Okay. The reason you need failure for success is because you have to be willing to fail. Like if you're not willing to fail, you're not willing to do what it takes to succeed. And perfect example of that is a few years back, I was, sharpening my ice skating skills. So I hired a coach and he complained to me. By the way, you mute. I didn't know if you knew, but you muted your mic, so I didn't know, so I was telling you.
I saw that. I didn't touch anything. It's funny.
But he said something to me during those practices. He's like, you never fall. And I thought that was a compliment. I'm like, oh, cool. He goes, no, it's not cool. Like, you're never going to get better if you don't fall. And it's so true.
You have to push yourself. You got to push yourself.
You got to push your
normal limits.
You got to take risks. Roger Bannister, who broke the 4-minute mile for the first time. Before that, it was considered, and we're in the Olympics now, so it's appropriate to talk about it. It was considered humanly impossible to break the 4-minute mile. Now, if you do that in the Olympics, you're a crappy runner because that's no longer humanly impossible. That's actually, you're a pretty crappy runner if you can't break a 4-minute mile. And that's an example of pushing yourself beyond the limit. We see it all the time with leaders. But there is one, okay, now we got to get to the rant section. Okay. And that rant section is about how you act as a leader. Okay. And I am a firm believer, me personally, a firm believer that if you're a leader, you should be a professional, set the example. You should be a promoter of unity, a promoter of compassion. That's leadership the right way. And the fact is, I will do a rant right now of the crap over the Super Bowl. It's absolutely ridiculous that there's 10 million different halftime shows because they're not halftime shows. They are shows they're putting on another network during halftime. To me, the Super Bowl halftime show is the one that actually is at the Super Bowl. Okay, and if I want to watch the alternatives, that's fine. Don't call them a halftime show. They're not a halftime show. You're just listen. It's true capitalism at its finest. All these people, they make it a thing about their bitching about Bad Bunny performing, but really they're just taking the opportunity so that they could create their own halftime show because they weren't invited to do a halftime show at the Super Bowl, and they could charge people for it and make money off of it. And I have no hate for that either, okay? Be an entrepreneur, but don't make it like it's some great gesture, like you're being a patriot. Okay, you're not being a patriot just because you're putting on a different halftime show. Number one. Number two, I just want to inform everybody in the United States of America, keyword of United States of America, okay, that the United States isn't only America. North America, Central America, and South America are America. So that's why Bad Bunny mentioned all the countries, because they are all in America. If you go to Europe, they don't call us America. They call us the States, because we are part of America. And yes, we do represent America. But there's also one other thing. Fucking Puerto Rico is the United States of America, you morons. Okay, and that's my rant right there. Like, take a geography class, because I've seen so many people this weekend on social media talking about they don't want immigrants doing the Super Bowl. He ain't an immigrant. He's an American. Number one. Number two, while you look back on past Super Bowls, not everybody was a United States citizen. Like, get over yourself. It's just a fucking halftime show, to be blunt. Just a halftime show. It not everything today has to be some major ordeal. That's my rant. What do you think, Bill?
That's exactly right. I mean, we put importance on things that really are not important in the overall view of life. And, when we get hung up on that, that's when we have problems. It's, what's important? We have to make that decision. What's the priority, if you will?
Yeah, totally. And then, okay, so Juan, I want to come to you on this subject here as somebody that's from another American country. What do you think about Bad Bunny playing at the Super Bowl?
I mean, it's not about the Spanish or English thing. It's more about, who's the biggest artist right now, who can bring in the most money. Because at the end of the day, the NFL is a business and they are in it for the money. They don't care about what your beliefs are. And the people saying that this is nothing more than a right-wing agenda to promote whatever.
Well, it's actually, Bad Bunny is the left-wing agenda, according to the right-wing agenda. And you're absolutely correct. That was the other thing. Okay. Again, capitalism as finest. First of all, the Super Bowl is called sports entertainment. It is entertainment. Music is entertainment. Things you watch on TV are entertainment. So what are you going to do? You're going to bring the number one entertainer in the world to perform so that you can get even more millions of dollars in advertiser dollars, knowing the exposure that's going to give. And right now, Bad Bunny is bigger than Taylor Swift. So there it is. And it's pretty funny because one of my brothers who I go to Costa Rica with a lot, a few years ago, he was mentioning Bad Bunny, and he's not into music like I am. I didn't even know who he was talking about. I thought he was talking about Joey Roll's wife because she's called Bunny. And he's become very close and involved with them and stuff like that. And I know if this particular brother is involved with him, the dude's a good dude. So maybe another brother I wouldn't say that with. But you know what my biggest rant is, Bill?
What's that?
Is why my pet gets a tummy ache and what I can do about it.
It's amazing that that's one of the most, probably the biggest reason that people visit their animal doctor. Um, it's we don't realize that everything that's going to be adjust our health has to get into the body somehow, and it has to normally comes through the mouth in the form of foods, junk, whatever. And if it's the wrong thing, guess what happens? We have an upset stomach. The
Mm.
body has got to try to purge itself of those bad things. And when we're looking at, like I say, food is basically just a vehicle. It's bringing things in and it's taking things out. Diarrhea, vomiting is housekeeping. It is not sick. It's housekeeping. Get rid of the bad stuff so we don't die. But,
You know how
we
parents,
change.
you know how parents always said, I could bring you in this world and I could take you out. That's what the pet stomach's doing when you put stupid crap in it.
It's the same with our stomach. And,
Yeah.
I mean, especially people that are older that grew up in, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, overindulgence was part of life. And on Sunday mornings, everybody's like, oh my God, I wish I was dead. I feel horrible. And, we're recovering slowly, slowly. And then all of a sudden it's run to the bathroom and everything comes out one end or the other. And we've been healed. Oh my God, I feel so much better now. Hey, can we go back to that place we were at last night? The body took care of it.
I was just thinking of something that, back then when you were talking about people took peyote buttons and basically in order to get high, you had to vomit first. So you would take the peyote buttons, vomit, and then get this really good high. Like, I don't know when they were doing that. I think I was 1 or 2 or something, but so I don't remember how it. I don't remember how it felt. But no, seriously though, like that's interesting too. That's an interesting what reaction that your body creates. That not only does it make you vomit because you put this poison in your body, but it makes you high because it affected your brain too.
Yeah. Well, in that case, what it was by vomiting first, the stomach is and the intestinal tract are probably pretty much empty. So now the absorption rate would be highly increased. There's no competition with food or real, healthy stuff. We just put in the bad stuff.
Yeah. And so here's two perfect examples of what you're talking about right here. Okay. Somebody in my family recently, they felt they got food poisoning, and ergo their dog also had tummy problems, thought their dog had food poisoning. Of course, brought the dog to the vet, did all these things, that the vets do, blah, 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 blah. And I just said to him, I'm like, maybe you just ate something and that's it, and it's like, I also talk about like he has, a lot of gastro problems, which I used to have until Dr. Jafari. And, it's like, yeah, the doctor's going to give me this medicine now because that one's not working. I'm like, why don't you just try not putting the stuff in your body that causes GERD? Like, it's such a simple solution. I don't understand because, then you can't eat the shit that you like, But you know what? My attitude was like when I reversed the diabetes, I love sugar. I love carbs. I love chocolate. I remember being in my 20s. I used to argue with healthy people like you need carbs and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when it did happen, I was like, well, I had a good run. Like that was my attitude. Now I can't do that anymore. Okay. And I also realized that I had those problems because I did that. We don't realize that when we're younger. Like, so it's just like with cigarettes. Did you know, Bill? And I remember this happening. It was my goal to do it then, but I didn't. That if you quit smoking most of the time by the age of 35, if nothing has happened to you yet, you will go back to as if you never smoked. But past 35, you're screwed. Past 35, you've already done too much damage.
It actually varies a lot depending on what positive things you're putting into your body too, and how much you're detoxing. But
Oh yeah,
that's a big part of it. But the other part that you mentioned is food poisoning. We don't get poisoned by food. We're getting poisoned by all the stuff that's on our food, in our food, processing, all of that destroys the natural benefits. And,
hmm
I had an incident last night, somebody called me, oh, I got food poisoning. It's like, no, you didn't get food poisoning because you can't eat poisonous food. You go out in the woods and grab some berries that are poisonous, put them in your mouth, you'll spit them right out. Your body knows innately that vibrational, you know, the rhythms and that sort of thing. This body says, no, no, no.
yeah.
Out it comes. Okay. Now, if I spray that poisonous berry with sugar water, it's okay. You mentioned chocolate. When you buy chocolate, how much cacao is actually in that chocolate bar? And how
I
much
know,
wax
right?
and how many flavors and chemicals and preservatives. The fact that it doesn't melt. What did they do to the chocolate bar so it won't melt?
That's what I found out when I went to Europe. That is an actual fact that Hershey bars include plastic. So you're eating
Yes,
plastic. And that's why the European chocolate's so much better because they don't have any plastic in it.
that's
And
right.
but the melting is what made me think of it because you can literally have a candy bar and you know unless it's extreme conditions it may not melt, but if you get a real candy bar like you would in Europe, it'll melt in your hands as you're leaving the store.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many of our food products that are that way. And of course, once you put that bad product in your gut, the body has to respond to it. It's got to try to get rid of it as quickly as possible. And so it's a good thing. So, but we've been taught if your dog or cat's got vomits, has diarrhea, and it's funny, I use a story all the time in conjunction with this. Let's say you were blessed with a puppy and a young child. You're working all week long, okay? Everything, it's been hectic, everything else. You got a housekeeper, maybe it's mom, grandmom, or whatever. You get home on Friday afternoon. All you want to do is kick off your shoes, sit back with maybe a glass of wine, a cocktail, whatever, and enjoy the family. And as you're walking in the door, the caretaker says, oh, by the way, the dog and the kid got diarrhea. You
Mm.
go into the house, you pick up the phone, you call your pediatrician. Okay, this is what's going on. Okay, just calm down what the foods are that you're putting in the body. Let's do energy, keep them hydrated. And if you have a problem on Monday, call the office and we'll fit you in sometime during the week. You hang up the phone, you pick up the phone, call the animal hospital. My dog's got diarrhea. Their response is, oh my God, it's an
And
emergency.
you're oh my God.
Yeah. But so as soon as they said it's an emergency, that's $500 to $1,000 on your bill because it's an emergency. You walk in, they throw the dog on the table, they start putting in needles and giving him fluids and antibiotics and anti-diarrheal drugs and anti-vomiting drugs because the other drugs are making the dog sick. We have to hospitalize them immediately, and you can probably pick them up Monday or Tuesday. So Monday you go into the office and pick up your animal. They give you a bag full of antibiotics and other medications. Your dog is actually sicker than he was in the beginning, by the way.
Mm.
And you're thousands and thousands of dollars poorer. In the meantime, the kid was out Saturday morning playing because it was only an event. Once that stuff came out of the body, why are we plugging him up after it's out of the body? That makes no sense to me. I guess that's kind of a rant.
That's a good rant. I like that rant. There's so much
Okay.
to rant about when it comes to stuff like this too, because it is true. It's like you call the vet and they put you in panic mode, and now you're willing to spend whatever money you have to, and the
Yeah.
same thing that you wouldn't spend on yourself. Like I know so many pet owners that they won't even go to the doctor because they don't want to spend money on their health, but if it comes to their animal,
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, the thing, and that I look at, first off, it's sold that if you don't bring that animal in right away because it's an emergency, it'll probably die. That fear-based medical sales pitch. You're going to die. Your dog is going to die. We don't know what it is. And then at the end of it, anyway, they run all these tests and they can't find anything wrong with the animal because, like I said, it was an event. But now you've been through this, okay, with your heart problems. Did you ever know, and this goes to your previous rant, did you ever know anybody that was treated by the second best heart doctor? Everybody always has their first
Yeah.
because he saved my life. Well, where was it written that you were going to die?
Yeah.
You was told that.
The second best, you died.
So everybody's alive has always had the very best, and there's hundreds of thousands of best cardiologists. Isn't that amazing? You can't have one best.
Well, what's interesting too is a few things, whether it's vets or human doctors, is the limited training that very, very limited training they have on nutrition and on pharmaceutical drugs that they prescribe to people. Okay. That's number one. Number two is their thought processes that they're brainwashed into. Okay. So going back to the heart thing, the first time I had the heart attack, I picked some doctor in Green Acres, I think it was. He was Hispanic. I have to mention that because I'm going to blame Juan for what happened next. And basically what I did is I was seeing Dr. Jafari before then. I had all her supplements. So I walked into his office with all the supplements. And the only reason I walked in there is because I'm smart. Because I do realize that certain times, once you have a condition, certain supplements may be bad or coincide or what have you, or be too much. Like, for instance, I knew for a fact that my supplements had spinach and other blood thinners in them when they have you on blood thinners already. So that's too much blood thinning. So when I went in, this doctor basically refused to look at him. And basically, in so many words, said it was a bunch of bullshit. He goes, that was all great. Now that you've had a heart attack, now you need to do the real stuff. That's all great for preventative, but now you got a real situation, blah, 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 blah. And he was rude about it. Never went to that cardiologist again. Never went to that cardiologist again. I don't care how good he is. So then next, what I did is I had Dee, remember Dee that worked for us over here? I had her call, was it Dee? Oh, actually, it wasn't even Dee. It was somebody else that worked for me that I had call basically every cardiologist in Palm Beach County and ask them one question. Are you open to natural health? And I said to the person I had called, I'm like, because if you go and you have to word it that way, because if you say, do you something like, do you practice natural health or promote it, they're not going to. I just want them to be open to it. I just wanted somebody that was going to be open to it. I knew that was the best I was going to get. So the cardiologist I have currently is the one she found after calling a lot of them. And he literally, after she asked that question, he got on the phone with me. And he's from Mount Sinai, so no schlump. We're not talking like no small doctor. And he talked to me for like an hour and a half. I wasn't even a patient yet. And so that impressed me because that doesn't ever happen nowadays. You're lucky to even talk to or see the doctor if you go to the office. And so basically when I went into that made me decide to go check him out, do a consultation. I went in with all of my, and when I say all of mine, okay, people are probably not realizing, like I had 10 different bottles of supplements that I went in with. First of all, he sat there and he read every one. And in the ones that he didn't know what the ingredients were, he looked it up right in front of me. Okay. Yeah. So he didn't even act like he knew it all. Okay. And he basically said, okay, this one, that's good to take. This one, you might want to hold off for a while till you're off the blood thinners, the blah, blah, blah. And went through these different things with each one of them. So now I trust his advice because he didn't give me a blanket no, and he didn't give me bullshit. He literally did research and had knowledge and gave me advice. And it was up to me what to do with that advice. But
Right.
he didn't put it down. He said, you could take these. These are fine. No problem. So, and that's why you have to be your own best advocate, whether it comes to human doctors or vets, because I got many more stories I can talk about, as you know, Bill, where doctors are just don't know what the hell they're doing sometimes. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So
their whole education is not based on health. There's no health in that bag. There's no health in their training. It's all about symptom management. I can load you up with a ton of drugs that will basically shut down your system, but still keep you alive. And, take enough painkillers. Hey, everything's fine, but you can't function.
No. And here's what I have to say is I get a tummy ache just going to talk to these people that want to do that stuff. What's your thoughts on all this, Studio Nut?
I mean, when you see the medication that you're taking and it includes symptoms that it may give you, like side effects that it may give you, and the side effects are usually worse than what you're feeling in that moment. Like, just it doesn't make any sense to me.
I love the commercials where people are running through, a field of sunflowers as the guy's saying, may cause death, may cause depression, may cause suicide, may cause this, for like 60 seconds, rattling off all this stuff.
and they always speed it up, so he always sounds a little high pitched. So it makes it sound a little more innocent. And,
maybe from some of the pharma that doctors have given me in my lifetime, I may be kind of screwed up because I'm looking right now actually at the screen. And based on the fact that both Bill and I have the bottom part with the white, it looks like two eyes with eyebrows and you're the nose, Studio Nut. This is what happens, okay? It just random just comes into my head as I'm looking at that. So, Bill, tell everybody how they can reach out to you. Check out your show. Check out My Paleo Pet. Check everything out that you have to offer, because the pet health guru can be your guru too.
Absolutely. I mean, we can start out this week with, of course, My Paleo Pet, the store, your website. Okay. That's the supplier of all the good, nutritious items that are out there. That's what we are, as a nutrition store for both people and pets. It's not that different. There is no such thing as people food and pet food, except that the government labeled it as such. So they could basically tax us differently. But we got a whole arrangement, of course, of herbs and botanicals and, good food for your pet, good food for you. We do a farm to table presentation in there where the best Florida raised beef, chicken, pork, lamb are available every single day. Just, you just got to stop by and pick out your favorite steak, your favorite cut of meat, fresh eggs right from the chickens on the pasture. They're not being fed corn and soy. And of course, the Pet Health Cafe, where we talk about this all the time. This week, we have a special guest coming on. We're going to be talking about how to eat healthy on a budget. Different things like, instead of buying one steak for $29 or $39 a pound, you buy a loin for maybe $19 a pound, or you buy the whole, half cow for $8.50 a pound. You can eat healthy with just budgeting the right way. You're paying, how much do you pay for per pound for, let's say, a candy bar? People don't realize those are costing you $20, $30 a pound. Lunchables that they feed in the kids in schools. Those are $15 a pound in a supermarket.
They have this new craze now.
It only says $2.99 on the package, you know.
Well, you mentioned the chocolate. They have the craze now with the what's the chocolate?
Dubai chocolate.
Yeah, the Dubai chocolate, which I haven't tried yet. I would like to try, but then I look and the candy bar is like $25. Like, come on, you're just full of shit. Okay, like it's probably shit in that chocolate, and that's what you're charging me for. Because it's from Dubai.
What do you say,
I'm going to go to Dubai and see if that's what the chocolate is they have there. I bet it isn't.
Yeah. And of course, on the other side of it, this is what we're, like I said, the Lunchables in the lunchroom at the school, public schools, $15 a pound, but they're only paying $2.99 for something that has no nutrition in it. And we're actually teaching our kids, the next generation, that this is acceptable.
Yeah, everybody go back to my generation where your parents packed you a soggy sandwich to bring to school with you. That's what we got to go back to. Make America soggy again.
Exactly. It's funny, when I was a teenager and I was in Boy Scouts and we had a weekend away and we had to bring our own food to cook on the fire or just your own food so you could eat. My father actually packed a steak, onions, and peppers into a foil that I put on the campfire. Everybody else is running around with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And it's like,
nice.
Yeah, totally different. I mean, that was attitude. We fixed our own food and we fixed good food. It wasn't just something thrown at us.
That's the key.
Yeah. But they can reach me, of course, at My Paleo Pet, 954-971-2500. Pet Health Cafe on YouTube, on these channels here, as well as on iHeartRadio. We can go back over a decade there, and you're going to get the advice that you need to make yourself healthy and keep your pets healthy. It's all the same. And it's funny, my last guest last week introduced me literally to somebody that's working up at the University of Florida, that they're starting a program for pet and people food being the same. And how long have I been preaching this?
Wow. Since the day I met you. And so everybody go home and feed your pets people food.
Real food. Real food.
Make sure it's real food. Make sure it is not a bunch of bull crap. And you know what? We're gonna do some we have a new festival we're giving tickets for, incarceration. So if you like going to prison, this is the festival for you. It's at Shawshank Prison. I love it. I even took a crap in one of the cell toilets just to say I did it at Shawshank Prison. So we're going to run some commercials here for festivals in a second. And then we have the next part of our show, the business section, where we have our resident expert, Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO and Powerful Business Strategies. And he just says, just ask. Like, what a concept. Just ask. And you got to listen to find out what that means. But I'll just give you a hint. McDonald's is a multi-billion-dollar corporation because of Just Ask. What did they just ask? Do you want fries with that? Would you like to supersize that? Things like that. Just ask, and your business will grow dramatically, just like McDonald's, except healthier. So thanks for being here for this section of the Adventures of Pipeman, and we will also make sure that you tune in Wednesday where we have our really wacky show going on. And you could check out Pipeman Radio on all socials. DM me if you want to win tickets to festivals, and also, especially incarceration. And also, just reach out to me for anything at any time, and go check out all my podcasts wherever you listen to podcasts. You can listen to the Adventures of Pipeman, Pipeman the Pit, and Positively Pipeman anywhere you listen to podcasts. And now, let's go to prison.
Incarceration, America's rock, metal, and tattoo festival returns this summer with Limp Bizkit, Disturbed, Bad Omens, plus Gojira, Papa Roach, A Day to Remember, Motionless in White, Ice Nine Kills, Cypress Hill, The Used, and so many more. Incarceration at the Ohio State Reformatory, July 17th to 19th. Passes on sale now at incarceration.com. The Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns May 14th through 17th with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Bring Me the Horizon, and Shinedown. Plus, Pierce the Veil, Good Charlotte, The Offspring, Sublime, Godsmack, Breaking Benjamin, Marilyn Manson, and so many more. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at sonictemplefestival.com. Welcome to Rockville. Returns to Daytona International Speedway, May 7th through 10th with Foo Fighters, My Chemical Romance, Guns N' Roses, and Bring Me the Horizon. Plus, Turnstile, Five Finger Death Punch, The Offspring, Breaking Benjamin, A Day to Remember, Godsmack, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville, May 7th through 10th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at welcometorockville.com.
Hey, you're listening to The Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio with a, once again, Positively Pipeman segment, Powerful Business Strategies. And I'm going to ask Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO if he wants fries with that.
Well, that is the single question that makes McDonald's millions of dollars every single day. And here's why it matters to your audience, Dean. And thank you for having me, by the way. The reason why it matters is that 34% of customers will buy additional products or services at the time of purchase if you simply ask. And the problem is that most business owners don't ask. So when you think about it, you're not chasing leads. This is just an additional sale that would have never happened otherwise by simply asking. And companies and Amazon is also great at this, where you buy one product, it's making suggestions on other products that you should buy that are similar that other people have bought after they bought the same product. And it's a strategy that works incredibly well. And everybody's website should also have suggestive selling incorporated in it, especially if there's some type of e-commerce company. But even beside that, I don't care who you are. Anytime you make a sale, you should be asking for another one, and with different products or services that, in all likelihood, the customer does not know that you have and that you offer. And that's the other thing. I was talking to a client today, and I said, every business owner thinks there's someone like Michael Jordan or Abraham Lincoln where they're just not forgettable. They're very forgettable. They're very forgettable. It's because a lot of my clients, when I talk about drip campaigns and reaching out to former customers that haven't bought from you in a while, oh, they know who I am. They know they know me. They know who I am, who we are. We did business with them. They don't. They forget.
Yeah.
And they need to be reminded. I've got so many clients that just don't understand that concept of rejuvenating former customers and the concept of simply asking. Just ask. If you made a sale, you've got them in the right position. They got their wallets out because they're buying from you already. And 1/3 of the time, they're going to buy something else. Will you get rejected? Yeah, 2/3 of the time.
Yeah.
But the other 1/3 of the time, you're going to get additional business. You're going to increase your average dollar per sale.
There's a saying that I live by, and that is ask equals get, which also translates to if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's right. It's so true. And a lot of business owners, in every one of your, whether it's a sales presentation or some type of a communication with customers, whether it's online or otherwise, you need to have suggestive selling to sell something else. Do you want fries with that? Do you want a Coke with that? All of that type of suggestive selling.
Would you like to supersize that?
Yes. Would you like to supersize that? It's incredible how much money that has made companies like McDonald's, like Amazon, and it's not a difficult thing. And all we're saying is just ask, just ask. And by the way, many times, I have a client in the roofing business, and he also sells siding and gutters. And fortunately or unfortunately, the name of his company has the word roofing in it. So people just think he sells roofing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. And so, and this past year, almost 90% of his sales were roofing. I said, you need to let your customers know at the point of sale, as well as through drip campaigns, but at the point of sale, that you sell roofing, siding, and gutters, and windows too, by the way. So he sells all these things, has the ability to sell all these things, but customers don't know, mainly because of his name, but maybe not. I bet you if his name didn't have the word roofing in it, these customers still wouldn't know he did siding, gutters, and windows.
Yeah.
And so it's really paramount. We know our companies better than the customer does by a landslide. And that's how we have to think about it, by a landslide. They don't know we sell half the stuff that we do sell.
Yeah.
They forget that we sell the primary stuff that we sold them. They
That
forget
is
who we are.
so important, because you know how many times people buy services and products from another company that you do, and they never knew you did it, and it would have been such an easy sale.
That's right. And that's what kills me, because I think if people think about how they deal with their own life, who was that company I used? Who was that business that I used a few years back that did such a great job? They forgot.
Yeah.
That's okay. People forget. It's not, your name isn't Abraham Lincoln. It's not something, or Michael Jordan, where it's something that they're going to absolutely remember and know. It just isn't that way. You're just a company that's in a sea of other companies and other businesses. And so it's critical that you just ask 34% of the time.
I'll tell you what, too. I have a story myself. When I worked at Prudential, starting off in the financial industry, what you used to do is you used to set appointments based on giving them a quote on their auto insurance to save them money on their auto insurance. But really, the real reason you were there was to sell life insurance, but you didn't go in with that. So you went in with it, and then you saved the money. And while you're writing the auto insurance, that's when you open up the door for the life insurance. But really, the money that you really made as the agent was off the life insurance, not off the auto policy. And right. I'm mentioning that because sometimes when you just ask, you're going to get a much bigger profit than what you initially sold.
Right. Agreed. It really is amazing how much you can increase your average ticket per customer by just simply asking. That's it. That's all you have to do.
No.
It's not a big ask. It's just
it's not. It's not. So why do you think people just don't ask?
I think they're so focused on making the initial sale and so happy that they made it that, or sometimes the mechanics of closing a sale are extensive. Okay, where you have to write stuff up and that type of thing. And they either don't think about it or they're just happy with what they got. When in fact, just happy with what they got.
And the thing is, too, is that a lot of times in that scenario, Like that's the best part and time in your relationship with that client is at the moment of sale. So the most likelihood that you're going to get people to listen to you about other products and services that you have is right then and there.
Right. That's it. That's the point. That's the point when they're ready, they're most active to purchase. And by the way, so there's also another point in time that it actually also has a high close rate, and that is at the end when a job is completed, especially in the trades. A job is completed, the customer is really happy, and now you're telling me what else you sell. It's unbelievable. Works very well.
Exactly, because once you have a relationship, they're most likely to do business with you.
Absolutely, and it's the best time to ask them for a review as well.
Yeah, and referral.
Right.
Do it all. Do it all.
Right. Do it all.
Right.
Kill it all.
So, anything else you want to share about this subject, and also tell people how they can reach out to you for more information and more help in this arena?
Yes. So the way, what I love to do to help business owners and help myself, to be honest with you, is do book interviews. We're always updating our book. There's always something new happening in business. I mean, a year ago, tariffs were something that was just a word, and now it has an impact in business. And so, that's why I always say business is always changing, and I need to constantly update my book to get new and fresh information in there and fresh ideas, which I get from business owners through book interviews. And it works really simple. It's 60 minutes on Zoom. I share strategies from my book, and then I ask the interviewee if a business owner in their industry were to implement that strategy, what would the impact be? And then I document it for the book. It's an industry perspective that I like getting.
Love it. Love what you do to help businesses. They need it more than ever, I think, nowadays. And thank you, Michael, for all the great advice you give. And thanks for being here on the Positively Pipeman segment of the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thanks for having me, Keith.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.